In today's video, we're going to be looking at 7 things you need to know about Kopi Luwak. So welcome back to coffeewithgpa.com, the channel that shows you the very best equipment and coffee that money can buy. If you're brand new to this channel and you want to continue your coffee journey with us, don't forget to subscribe and like this video from below if you found it useful. If you do have any good feedback or comments, please also leave those in the comment section below and let me know if there's any coffee that I should be trying that you would like to see featured on this channel. The first thing that you need to know about Kopi Luwak coffee is, what is Kopi Luwak coffee? Well, it's actually the coffee that's derived from partially digested coffee cherries from the Asian palm civet. Now, the Asian palm civet actually seeks out the very best coffee cherries, so that's one reason that it's significantly more expensive than normal. It then eats these cherries, and as part of the digestive system of the civet cat, it will actually partially digest and ferment these coffee cherries so that the beans take on particular characteristics. As we all know, these are then excreted from the cat, collected by people, and that's where your Kopi Luwak comes from. The second thing you need to know about Kopi Luwak coffee is, what animal does it actually come from? So this is the Asian palm civet cat, and they are all over Indonesia. These are the creatures that love the coffee cherries in particular and that produce this rather unique but quite exciting coffee. The third thing that you need to know about Kopi Luwak coffee is it ethical? Now, lots of people have very different views on this, and there are elements to and against, or for and against, this particular coffee production. Now, where it has been quite unique and quite sought after in many parts of the world, it has also led on to some rather unethical views and rearing of these cats, and they do breed them in captivity in some places to produce this coffee. This particular one hasn't been brewed that way, hasn't been produced that way either, but it's worth bearing in mind that it's always good to check on the background of the coffee that you're trying to make up your own mind. The fourth thing we need to know about Kopi Luwak coffee is, how was it discovered? Now, I know what you might be thinking through your mind at the moment, and it's not necessarily like that. It was actually very, very closely connected with Indonesian coffee history. Dutch colonists would produce these big plantations of coffee, but also import coffee from Yemen. In the 19th century, the Javan coffee farmers will actually collect the excreted coffee beans from the coffee plantations and start to brew the coffee from that. The fifth most asked question that comes to mind when we're looking at Kopi Luwak coffee is, what on earth does it actually taste like? Well, let's make one and find out. So there we've got our Kopi Luwak coffee. So it's worth bearing in mind first of all that the actual beans themselves are pretty big. Now, they might be fairly reminiscent of, say, Brazilian beans. They're quite large inside, like lovely even roast, but quite a matte finish. You don't see any of that sort of browning on top of it, which is quite cool. But the smell is slightly toasted. You can smell the subtle, very, very subtle chocolatiness of it, but it's almost quite spicy to the point where you can tell it's definitely like an Indonesian type of coffee. There's a lot of robust power there behind it. So we've done this today as a Chemex, and as you can see, typical Chemex style, super clean cup of coffee. but there's like a pepperiness, like a spicy pepper on the top notes there as you give it the first smell. Let's see what it tastes like though. And it's really surprising. Really surprising. So what you'll find is that the first taste is very typically Javan. It becomes very potent, very spicy, very peppery on the tongue. But then as soon as it goes to the back of the palate, it completely smooths out. It's literally as though it's like a split personality coffee. Very intense at the very first stage, but then it becomes really smooth and quite delicate as it goes down. And then you get this sort of citrus acidity on the back notes as well. It's a really quite complex flavoured coffee. I can imagine that people that would enjoy this would like their stronger roasts. You know, if you do go for a Javan coffee, or perhaps something from even the Africas, or if you actually quite like Thai coffee, then you would really get this. It's strong like espresso, but it's smooth like a South American coffee. It's really nice. And it's a bit of a contradiction in terms, because it starts off as this very powerful, very bold coffee, but then it almost inverts itself and becomes very understated, very smooth and very elegant. So if we're asking ourselves what it tastes like, yeah, it's really good. The Sikh question we ask ourselves, is this a good coffee? Yeah, it's really nice. Now, it's not the sort of coffee you're going to be running out buying every 2 minutes, but as a treat or as an experience, it really is that. And it's surprising just how enjoyable this is as a coffee experience, especially at home. And the 7th thing that we need to know about Kopi Luwak, where on earth do we actually get it, especially in the UK? Well, the one we've got here today is from Sea Island Coffee. The link is actually in the description below, but there are many different places that you can get this from. Some places are going to be significantly more expensive than others. This came as a tri-pack with a few other coffees, so you could try some different ones from around the world. But it's well worth checking out if you haven't done so already. And there you have it, 7 things that you need to know about Kopi Luwak coffee. If you found this video useful, don't forget to give it a like and leave some comments and feedback in the comment section below. Have you tried this? What's your opinion on it? Do you think it's right that people drink Kopi Luwak? Have you tried it yourself and you really love it? Did you dislike it? I'd love to hear what you think. Until next time, enjoy your coffee, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Take care.